YT Dave says, how has Allie overcome the stigma and belittling of being a bagpiper? And what can I do with and for my daughter to help her with learning the pipes? I think he means potentially as a woman who plays the pipes as well as a bagpiper in general.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hit on both a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. So I'll start with being as a woman, because I think that's something that you can help her with. I was very fortunate when I started. I was able to learn from a woman in a youth band full of other young girls who were about my age learning bagpipes. And I also had my music outside of bagpiping as well. So, really early on, I didn't see bagpipes and being a young girl playing them as anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't until I became an adult and started trying to join other bands that I realized nobody else looked like me. There were definitely times where I was the only girl competing, the only girl in the band, and also one of the younger people. So the best thing that you can do for your daughter is just continue to foster her love for the instrument, continue to just be kind of like a backboard that she can bounce off of and just be supported. I think inevitably she's going to face a little bit of pushback from society, which is just the way it is. But as long as you're always there to support the choices that she's making with the instrument and her love for it and just being there for her, that is really helpful. You can't unfortunately shield her from everything, but just as long as she knows that she can kind of talk to you about it and just be there to work through it, that's great. As a bagpiper, it's kind of a little bit different. The pushback and the stereotypes surrounding the instrument in general is actually kind of what jump-started my whole career now, is just feeling like there wasn't a lot of serious musical representation of the instrument and that the instrument wasn't being kind of like broadened. And so hopefully that's something, I mean, I'm
You're
talking a
adding
little,
to.
yeah, I could talk, it's a big statement, but hopefully that's something that I can help with just by continuing to be a presence in the space. But I would also just encourage her to play them and change people's minds. The best thing that you can do, I got it a lot growing up too, is wow, this is the first time I've heard bagpipes and liked them, because they heard somebody who cared about the instrument, who cared about coming across in a positive way, playing them and enjoying it.
Playing them well. That may be why they didn't like
Thank
bagpipes.
you. But even when I was a beginner, if I played to my level and I didn't play outside of my level and I was conscious of not making the instrument look bad, all of that does positive for the instrument. And she has the possibility now to do what I've been able to do as well, which is change people's minds and start to build another community that appreciates the instrument, maybe for the first time.
Yeah, and to your credit, I think what you are doing, and people like you, or bands that include a bagpipe in their music, even back to like AC/DC and that kind of like and Bon Scott playing the bagpipes for a long way to the top and things like that. Just incorporating it, kicking and screaming into the 20th century, into the 21st century, and doing different things with it, and kind of marrying it and playing with it in different ways, as well as traditionally.
Mhm.
But having both of those worlds coexist it breathes new life into it. Excuse the pun. But and it gets younger kids involved, and they start looking at things differently than they have looked at it before. Like, oh, you can do that with it. Ooh, that's neat. Let me try something.
Yeah,
It opens up a whole world to someone who may not see it in that light.
absolutely. And I mean, I could talk all day about the potential that she has as a young girl getting involved. I assume she's younger. You didn't mention ages, but that's totally an assumption on my part. But a woman or a young girl wanting to learn the instrument, she has the ability to shape the future. I'm not putting that pressure on her for sure.
It's all on
It's
you.
all on you and your
Everything.
daughter. But even outside of all of this and social media and, like being a career musician, just when I was growing up too, it really helped me as an individual knowing that my parents supported what I was doing. They wouldn't crack the stupid jokes. And if I was bothered by things that people said at gigs or that people said at school, I knew that I could say those things to my parents and they'd be like, screw them. Honestly. And so I appreciated having that, and I felt like secure in that. And so it kind of put this little blanket around me that I worried less about things that people had to say. They just didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, one lesson I've kind of unfortunately had to instill in my son was, some people are just assholes. Period. Like sometimes you're just going to get a jerk and it doesn't matter. You just got to deal with it. Hopefully you have less jerks in your life, but sometimes people are just jerks. Some people are. It's just who they are. And just have as few of them as possible. Find more positive people. Find more people that you get along with and kind of navigate life that way. But
100%.
it's a lesson you have to learn at a young age to weather the storm of idiots.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, genuinely awesome that you're looking for extra ways that you can support her in her journey as well. I mean,
Yep.
sometimes it's hard being a girl, especially a younger girl who plays the pipes, because it's just not what people are expecting. But again, it's super awesome that you're already looking for ways to support her as she's learning. And
Yep.
I love that. And I'm not a parent, but I can imagine from the parent perspective too, it's probably just, I don't know,
Yeah,
nice to hear that people are wanting to support their kids in a community that they're not necessarily
Yep.
already in.
Yeah, absolutely.
10 out of 10 for you, YouTube Dave.
Very good.
Rating comments. 10 out of 10.
We try not to rate our audience.
Sorry,
That
but
may
10
go
out of 10.
poorly.
I'm going to do a 10 out of 10.
Hey,
for
that
you.
last question. I didn't like it so much. It's
6
like
out
a
of 10.
2. You kind of suck. Please
Oh,
don't
it's
ask any
2.
more questions.
Please
Yeah,
don't
it's-
come back.
Yeah, no.
No, YouTube Dave can come back. I liked your
We'll allow
question.
him.
I
Yeah,
liked it.
sure.
I'm not going to rate any questions further. Don't be offended.
Fair.
Thank you so much for that comment. I hope I was able to provide some sort of insight. If anybody out there is looking for extra ways to support their children and are looking to build some community, definitely check out Kilts Culture on Facebook because they've got your back.